Welcome to the OZone.
Welcome to the OZone.
Welcome to the OZone.
Welcome to the OZone.
The voice of massive Magic fans.
Welcome back to another episode of the OZone Podcast, the voice of Magic fans. We got the crew, and joining us today, Ariel.
Hello, hello.
What's
going on,
happening,
boys?
Ariel?
What's going on, man?
Listen, I'm a little offended this morning. I was in the holiday spirit. I brought out my Christmas tree for you guys. It's probably like 4 inches tall. I got basketball ornaments. Got the blue lights. I got the Amway Center little model right next to it.
Got the bobbleheads.
I got a Dwight Howard bobblehead, but let me explain.
No.
The Dwight Howard bobblehead is missing an arm. So it's okay if it's there because it's already been through like torture and stuff.
I got you. No. I got you. Weird explanation, but I got it.
I mean, that's all I got. Nobody said Merry Christmas. It's December 1st.
No, I'll be honest with you. I walked in and I saw it.
You saw it, but didn't say anything.
Yeah,
So you don't appreciate my
No.
Christmas efforts.
I was trying to be polite. I didn't think it was done. So it's just.
Yeah, I couldn't find a star for my tree, right? So I had this really big ornament, and it's an ornament, so it doesn't go like on top. So I had to find like you know the stuff that you put around your loaf of bread so that it stays closed.
Yeah,
that's what's tied up to the top. So what I'm trying to say is appreciate my efforts.
I got you. Well,
Merry Christmas,
it looks
Merry
great.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right, boys, let's jump into the numbers. So currently our record is 7-11. Seed in the East, we're sitting at 8th. Offense, points per game, we're averaging 101.1, which ranks us at 30th in the league. 3-point percentage, 31.1, which also puts us in 30th. Offensive rating, 102.4. Take a wild guess.
30th.
It's like a common thing now.
Right.
We terrible. Defense, points allowed, 102.3, puts us at 2nd. Blocks per game, 6.6, which is also 2nd. Defensive rating, 104, which puts us 11th in the league. This past week, we had a few games, right? Total of 3 games. We played against Detroit, Cleveland, and Raptors. Let's review the first game of the week, which was a loss against Detroit. What you guys see? What you like?
We just got killed by the bench, man. It feels like we just couldn't get it going for whatever reason. We played well the first half, and then the second half, their bench just destroyed us. We couldn't stop. I can't say his name. The kid off the bench.
Was it Mikhailuk?
There we go. Let's call him that.
Uh-huh.
He just killed us, man. He was just putting up shots, hitting everything. That was a game that I thought we could win, but unfortunately, we just couldn't make any shots, and they were making everything, unfortunately. So, tough loss for us to start the week.
Yeah, I agree. Detroit is, I don't know, they're one of those teams that you can never really predict what they're going to come out looking like because Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond can be super hot or be cold. And I don't know, Birch I thought was going to have, a bigger game because he is more physical, but I felt like it didn't really work out. Detroit was literally hitting every shot. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it was disappointing to watch for sure.
That was the first game after Vooch and Gordon were out, right? So I didn't really expect much for them to win or control Drummond. So I kind of expected that loss.
I mean, it was a big game from Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross came in from the bench, scored 19 points. From Detroit, it was a player that really, really wanted us to pick up a couple years ago, Luke Kennard.
Yes.
It's a Duke boy.
Kennard, yeah.
I really like his game. I like the way that he's able to put the ball on the floor and shoot. He really destroyed us. Big game from Terrence Ross. Markel Fultz had a big game also, 16 points. So just being able to see the consistency there. We also played against Cleveland, which was a solid win against Cleveland. How'd you guys feel about that game?
That game, actually, we played well throughout. Cleveland made a run at the end, which made it seem like it was a closer game than what it actually was. But that was really a blowout win by us. We led by double digits most of the game. Really, the first time in a while that I felt like, wow, we played well today. Mm-hmm. And it felt defensively we were doing well. Offensively, we played well. So really the one time I felt like, man, it feels good. We're actually clicking right now. But that was a fun game to watch overall.
Yeah, our 3-ball was falling from anywhere and everywhere. Mo Bamba had, I think he was 5 for 5, I think, on 3-pointers.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I believe 5 for 5. That was impressive, especially with the criticism that we give Bamba all the time.
Who, us?
No, Bamba.
Nah, we love Bamba here, man.
I mean, your boy Evan went off.
And Evan went off with 30 points, right?
Yeah, there was a point in time that I had to mute the group chat just because you were going off.
Yeah, my celebrations are kind of extreme when Evan goes off. But that was a good game. Towards the end, Darius Garland and Colin Sexton were hitting.
They got it going.
Threes from everywhere, and I was like, "Oh, Orlando's gonna do what they always do and kind of crumble in the fourth." But we got to pull that one out.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about Mamba. I think
About Kobe?
No, man, I'm just excited for what he's done this week, and I'm excited to see his development. Just hope he gets a little bit bigger and can do more things. But I love what he's helping us to do on the threes. So,
Man, I'll take the win. I'm just not excited about the win. I'm glad that Terrence Ross had another solid performance with, what do you have, 16 points? But it's against the Cavs. Like, this is a team that we should, it's without a doubt a win. It was Kevin Love's first game back, and he had a solid game, and they still have solid veterans. But this isn't a team that we should even bat an eye for. The fact that we're excited after the game was a little disheartening because this is a game that's on our schedule. We have to play them, beat them, move on to the next one. It's not for me. It was an exciting one at all. We also took on the Raptors. A loss against the Raptors. There was a point in the game that we were leading by double digits, but we just couldn't get it done.
That game hurt. So, as you guys know, I go to every home game, and I sat in that game, and I was fuming inside. I was pissed because, again, we played so well the first half. Everything was clicking for us. And for whatever reason, we just could not play at the same level, which, again, happens way too often with the Magic. They do well one half. They cannot come out with the same energy. And we saw it again. So Dwight Powell, whatever his name is. Norman Powell. This guy, man, just went off in the third quarter. Like, literally everything he threw up just went in. From three, crazy layups. It was insane. And that's the reason why we lost the game. We couldn't score in that third quarter. I think we scored 11 points, 12 points in the third quarter. Again, just a game that we should have won had we played consistent. We could not get it done, however.
Yeah, I agree. But I would say there were warning signs throughout the game. I mean, by halftime, we had 47 points. That's typically, if you put up 47 points in a half, you're not going to win most times, I would say. But we started off really well, especially defensively. I think the first 5-6 possessions, Toronto couldn't score. Mm-hmm. But after the first, I think Markelle hit a 3 to open the game over Siakam. And then Evan Fournier hit a 3 right after that. And then we kind of went cold. And, we maintained a lead for a little bit, but most of the time we were playing catch-up.
We always start strong, though, with Raptors.
Always.
Right.
I mean, we got destroyed by 2 players, Van Vliet and Norman Powell.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
And this was AG's first game back, right? Mm-hmm. And Pascal Siakam didn't have a strong game. He only scored 10 points, so really great defensive effort from our guys. Right. But there's no way that if Pascal's having a bad game, you don't have Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka is in the game. Why are we getting destroyed by Norman Powell?
I'll tell you why. So the rotations, again, we talk about this pretty often about Clifford. One thing I noticed is the Raptors starters played almost 40 minutes in that game across the board. We could not match up. In the fourth quarter especially, I kept looking at my wife. I kept looking at people around me in the arena. We were all wondering, where is Jonathan Isaac when Pascal came back in the fourth quarter? Again, the Raptors were playing to win the game. We were playing the Clifford game, which is our rotation is this, we're going to play this. And we got outcoached. That's the reality of it. We got outcoached. He knew the guys that were hot. He kept feeling the hot hand. We never do that, and that was the game.
We had 22 turnovers.
That was another thing. That third quarter was sloppy.
22 turnovers to their 13 turnovers. We couldn't protect the ball.
Yep.
And we put up 12 points. When I left the game, I was in shock.
12 points in the
third quarter. That we put up 12 points in the third quarter when I feel like our effort was there. Mm-hmm. When the game started, it felt like, at least throughout the first quarter, mm-hmm. Probably half of the second, it felt like we could win this game.
We got this, yeah.
And things changed really quickly.
They did.
I think people need to start respecting the Raptors because I sure didn't. They're currently third in the East, second in the East, and I am just happy that we don't have to worry about them again until like way later on.
I'll be honest with you. When Kawhi left, I thought it was a wrap.
I thought so also. I had them scratching into the 8th seed in the East.
Me too.
But they still have a very, very solid team.
They do.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet is really, really, really great. And his confidence is through the roof, which is making his game, his playmaking ability and scoring ability that much better. Mm-hmm. And we all know what Siakam could do. And then when you have guys that shouldn't play massive roles for this team, like Norman Powell going off on us, and hitting threes, at a high clip, that's gonna be a loss.
That's a wrap.
Against that's gonna be a loss for most teams in the league.
All right, so let's move on to the juice. So we had some interesting things that happened this past week. The very first one that we're going to talk about is something that I felt was really important for the future of this team. So the Orlando Magic were granted tax relief for the remaining $16.7 million off of Timothy Mozgov's contract. The Magic are now $7.8 million under the tax threshold.
That is huge.
That was a massive move.
That is. Yeah. It gives us some flexibility this year to sign another player, which again, with the 15th roster spot open, we can sign a player with that. And also going forward, it gives us that ability to say, hey, we have some additional money, tax window to spend some additional funding on free agents in the summer. And of course, that also opens up the 2021 free agency, which we're allowed to have about $50 million in cap space, which is huge. So again, I think it's a winning move by the Magic there.
I mean, this year we're just under the luxury tax. Next summer, we're looking to have even more flexibility with the mid-level exception. Even more so, I don't doubt what happened. But if Evan Fournier doesn't opt into his contract, that gives us even more flexibility. I thought it was a very smart move from our front office. They're the most conservative, safe front office I think I've ever witnessed or been a part of the Magic. But they are. The fact that they even had the idea, the thought process to even submit it, because I'll be honest, when I first heard that they were at least applying for it, I'm like, well, nah, I don't know. Good luck with that one. I mean, if it happens, great. But I really wasn't expecting for it to go through, and the fact that it did, I mean, is really big kudos to the front office.
Yeah, so I think it was another smart move from our front office. It kind of undid the fact that we brought Bamba to Orlando from Toronto after having a huge couple of playoff games. But then we traded Bamba to Charlotte, bringing in Mozgov, which kind of gave us a little bit of relief, but it was still a major contract for a guy who wasn't going to be able to play. And getting him off the books clears up, a lot of space for us, especially like Ant said, moving toward 2021.
Can you imagine a world with Oladipo back in the lineup and us finishing the Hennigan era and trading away Evan Fournier and Aaron Gordon?
You think he'd be interested in coming back to Orlando?
I think so. I don't think he left because he wanted to, and I don't think he disliked it here.
I just think that he played college ball in Indiana. He's in Indiana now. They treat him amazing over there. They bring him out to Indianapolis Colts games and make
it's his team.
It's his team. It's his city. I don't see him even paying us any mind. Granted, it's not the same front office. Rob Hennigan isn't here. So it's a different team in those regards, but I don't see him even giving us a shot.
And like Ariel said, if we trade off AG and Evan, his boys, those were his boys when he was here. There's nothing for him to come back to.
There's no confirmation that they were his boys. No one confirmation.
In that
Maybe
case,
one picture.
In that case, then, give me Bradley Beal from Washington. He's a free agent that summer too.
Yeah, Bradley Beal, Giannis. I mean, they're all long shots, but
LeBron.
There's still some time.
No, they're all long shots, but it does give us the flexibility to, make a push. And if our young guys develop, if Fultz becomes what we think he can become, if Jonathan Isaac becomes what we think he can become, Mo.
Say it.
Those are
Why do you say it that way?
Those are pieces that can be appealing to a superstar, especially if he's trying to win. Those are attractive young assets. and players who can definitely play a major, role for a superstar and try to make a push for Orlando to win a chip.
You know what I like is that those 3 free agents that we were talking about, that there's some connection to the team with all 3.
Right.
So you got Oladipo that obviously we drafted. You got Bradley Beal that he played for the University of Florida, so bring back a Florida boy. And then you have Giannis, who our front office drafted in the draft. So there's at least some connection to at least warrant a conversation.
Yeah, they're not all outlandish.
Yeah, exactly. I think at the end of the day, that's all we could really ask for. Give us a shot to have a talk, right?
I think with all these moves, I think we're in a great position to make a solid trade here or there in the next year or two and really put us in contention to win.
I mean,
or be in a winning season.
This front office, if there's one thing that they've done well, is they put us in a really good financial situation. From the contracts to making moves like this. So, all right, let's jump into the next juice topic. On Friday against the Raptors, the Magic debuted their City Edition uniforms with the City Edition courts. How'd you guys? Oh, you guys were at the game, so how'd you guys see it in person?
I'll be honest with you. So when the jerseys and the court. Well, the court kind of came out first during the summer, and it was like a Reddit thing, and I thought it looked terrible. I was like, why are they doing this brown-orange thing? And I wasn't a fan. When the jerseys were released, I was also disappointed because I felt like we could have done a lot more, especially for a city theme. But then I saw it. I saw it in person. We sat, in really good seats, and we got to kind of see a little bit of detail. And the court was very nice.
It was.
I like how they changed, what is it called? The scrolling bars and things around the arena. To kind of replicate the court, and showed a lot of that orange throughout the Amway Center as well. So it felt like it was a full embrace of the gray and orange. And seeing the jerseys and the court together and in person, I'm a fan. It kind of changed my perspective.
Me too, and I think the biggest thing they did was like I said, everything in the arena, everything from the banners to the rolling, everything, the scoreboard was orange, which I did not expect. So that was a nice touch. As far as the jerseys goes and how it played out, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think much better than in pictures. I think it didn't do it justice until you watch it live.
Right, I agree. And literally the only blue you saw was fans wearing blue Orlando Magic jerseys. There was nothing affiliated with the team that was blue.
I think that's one of the things that I like. Is there any other team in the NBA that utilizes those 2 colors together? Like the dark charcoal gray with
Phoenix,
with the orange.
maybe, years back.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think maybe the Knicks did once in one of their uniforms in the past 2-3 years. But I like the color schemes. The Lando on Twitter, he had brought up a really good point that he was actually really happy that they didn't go with the primary orange colors because it allowed them to use the logo in full orange.
Oh, that's true. A good point.
So it's I like the combination. I really like the core. I know that there was a lot of talks that people didn't like the ORL in the middle. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought collectively together, the core complements the uniform complements the core.
Yeah, I would say overall, even with the statement, the statement jerseys, I didn't like those initially, but I think I'm fully on board.
On board with I love that blue. I don't know if it's different or not, but for me, they look different. That blue, it's a different tone of blue.
And it's like a deeper blue, right?
It is.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I like our royal blue is a loud color, right? Because you complement with the black and the gray, it pops out, and I think the orange does the exact same thing. I think they're really 2 good color schemes, and I hope that this is a color that we utilize not just this year, but in the next 2, 3, 4, 5
Yeah,
years.
like other designs, but following the color scheme.
Absolutely.
I think that would be interesting to see for sure.
So yes, we're actually guaranteed to wear the City Edition orange next year for sure.
Yeah.
They already have it already picked out the New Jersey and everything. So orange is here to stay.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's here to stay. I just don't know after next year what's going to
I
happen.
mean, they better imagine how much money they spent on that court.
Yeah. You want to keep that for a little bit.
Squeeze out. All right, so jumping into the next topic, Amino out indefinitely due to a torn meniscus on right knee. How much are you guys going to miss Amino?
I'm going to miss Amino. He's not a primary scoring option for our team, but his defense is present. He does make an impact defensively. He's one of those guys that, similar to MCW, doesn't give up on plays and will give 100% up until the play is over. So I think on defense, we'll definitely feel his loss. And he is a guy who can contribute offensively our system, I still believe he's just new to it, and he hasn't played in it long enough to feel comfortable, to play his style of basketball. And I know there's a lot of people, on Twitter and social media kind of criticizing Aminu, saying that he's trash and calling him a bum and all of these things. But I think Aminu over time is going to prove his value on this team. So a torn meniscus, I read from
4 to 8 weeks.
Yeah,
so
4 to 8 weeks.
It could be a month, could be 2 months.
Right. So I think during that time, we will miss Aminu's presence.
For now, I don't think we'll miss him now, just because he hasn't been a presence yet. Like, he had that one good game where he started instead of AG, in place of AG, or Isaac, instead of Isaac. And he played really well that game, got a double-double, helped us win that game. But most of the games this year, he has been non-existent. He has been not an offensive force. He has not been hitting his threes. Defensively, yes, he adds value there. I'm not going to lie. But you have Isaac, you have Gordon, you have Bamba, you have all the guys that can fill that void. Offensively, again, we need that right now. That's the one area where you read it earlier, Anthony. We're 30th on everything, right? So I hope whoever we're putting in there now, whether it's going to be Iwundu or it's going to be BJ Johnson, whoever we decide to give some minutes to, can help out, because that's what we need right now. Defense, we can get it done. It's only 2 months. I think we'll be fine. But again, over time, if it's a whole season he misses, let's say, that'll be a bigger loss. 2 months, I think we'll be fine.
And just to add to what you guys are saying, I mean, I would miss him too if we were doing a lot better in the season and we were in good rhythm. But I just think this opens up the opportunity for spreading out the minutes and maybe figuring something else out. I mean, we're not doing great when the numbers show we're dead last. I think there's some room to change things around. So I don't know what they have planned, and I don't know if they're going to make any major moves this year. But if they do, this is just an opportunity for the other guys.
So question. Aminu's playing small forward most times, right? Could you see a situation where we try Terrence Ross in the starting lineup at that small forward position?
No.
I
don't think so. I don't think so, because he's a role player that plays his role, and he does that well. I think we experimented with him in the starting lineup before, and he was just way more effective off the bench. So in my opinion, I don't think they would, because you expect him to do that. Very similar to, obviously it's not the same situation, but you didn't plug in Bamba into the starting lineup. You decided to go with Kent Birch, just because we're utilizing him at his strengths for his specific role.
Well, I think with Mo Bamba's a little different. I think Mo Bamba's motor and effort is why he didn't get an initial starting role when Vooch was injured. I don't think it was necessarily his skill set, because you wouldn't say Birch has a bigger skill set than Bamba. The only thing that really sets them apart is Birch's effort. And effort has never been a question for Terrence Ross, which is why, why I was thinking maybe Ross might have some minutes at a starter over a Iwundu, for example. But
now that we have Gordon back, who do you sit in that situation? Because now you have Isaac, Gordon at the forward, Birch at center.
I guess that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
But why not just give Isaac more minutes? Like the last couple games, he's only been playing 20. That's what we should do.
Why not just give everyone more minutes?
Well, no, I mean, I think Isaac deserves more minutes, and he's been helping us out defensively, and he's our go-to guy. So I think.
I mean, for me, I'm okay with Aminu being out, just because it now will, minus Markelle Fultz, obviously, but it just brings back the same team from last season.
It does.
I don't know about you guys, but for me, Aminu, every time he shoots the ball, I cringe. Like, whether it be a three-point shot, mid-range, just anytime there's a shooting motion from Aminu, I'm like, man, what are you doing? Pass the ball. That man's open. But he is a starting caliber player.
He's made some good shots.
He's shooting like 18% from threes. Like, he's a good shooter overall in his career. Just this year, for whatever reason, he's not making
it's
them.
a new system too, so
it is. He'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. Like Justin mentioned, he'll be a good player with given time. I think right now he just hasn't clicked. This injury will help.
All right, so let's jump into our next segment. One of my favorite segments are pass or shoot. So the very first one, currently right now, Mo Bamba had a really solid week, averaging 20 minutes per game, 10.7 points per game. He's shooting 60% from the field, 85.7% from the three-point line, 7.7 rebounds per game, 2.3 blocks. I mean, he is being effective on the floor. So Bamba deserves some credit from us after a solid week. Pass or shoot? Shoot.
I'm gonna pass.
How can you pass?
There's always that one guy.
I know a lot of people are probably gonna say I'm a hater and all of these things.
I'm gonna say it.
Justin, you're a hater.
But But here's the thing. He's played well for 3 games, right? His entire criticism all of last year, well, the games that he did play, and for, a good amount of games this season, most of the games this season, has been his effort, has been his motor, has been taking ill-advised 3-point shots. Making 3-pointers for the last 3 games when you've been missing a lot of them and not really playing in the flow of the offense and kind of being a sore eye or a sore point in our offense for a large part of the season doesn't kind of like absolve you from everything that happened. It doesn't make it like, oh, now he's great because he's been balling for 3 games.
But he's been consistent.
He has for 3 games. But when you look at the entire season so far, he's been really inconsistent, and these 3 games contribute to the inconsistency. So I think if he continues to play at this level, obviously my criticism of Mo Bamba is going to subside. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those guys that's like, oh, he's been playing well for 6-10 games, but I still hate the guy. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. But I do think that for a 3-game stretch, anyone can play, really well for 3 games. It's about maintaining that level of productivity, maintaining that level of engagement. And for me, that's why I'm
let's start him. Let's give him more minutes. Let's keep it going.
Let's not start him. He's going to find exactly where he's at. I said this earlier.
Wait, why not?
He's shooting 85.7% from the 3-point line. Right now, outside of Evan Fournier, he's our best 3-point shooter.
There you go. Deserves a starting position while
he does
Vooch
not
is out.
deserve a starting position.
While Vooch is out, let's go with it.
No, stop it. Don't even.
We're 30th.
No. Ariel, no.
That's funny. No, I think ultimately, if we started Mo Bamba, I think we would put him in a situation where we would expose a lot of his shortcomings and his flaws. So I think a starting role for Mo at this point in time is not the best thing for Mo's development or our short-term or long-term success. I think Mo can come off the bench and, contribute in the way that he has been contributing for the last 3 or so games. But I'm not necessarily on the Mo train yet because, again, it is 3 games, and we've seen 50-plus games of, not so good Mo Bamba. So I need more.
So why I'm shooting is totally different. I'm not looking at the numbers. I'm not looking at, again, statistics. I'm looking at effort. I know after a game earlier this week, I believe it was against Detroit on Monday, they asked Mo Bamba, just feedback so far. It was an interview. I forgot the exact game, but he did say he sat down with Coach Clifford. They've been talking about a lot of different things. And he admitted in an interview recently with Josh Robbins, it's mental for him. It is the injury is still playing a factor with how he's playing on the court. Even going for dunks, he's still kind of overthinking it sometimes. My thing why I'm shooting, and I think he deserves the credit he's getting, is because he is finally playing with a passion out there. He threw down a dunk last week, the last game against Toronto. And he was pumping his chest. He was asking the crowd to get loud. That's it. I don't care about numbers with Bamba. I don't care about anything like that right now. We know he's young. We know he missed all of his rookie season. Just show me passion. And he's doing that so far. So because of that, Mo, you get my credit.
I mean, outside of him being a top selected pick for us in the draft, 10.7 points per game and 7 rebounds per game from your second string center is exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, in 20 minutes.
And you're right, he did look way more alive. He showed way more passion. He showed way more emotion. He was grabbing rebounds, catching alley-oops, actually getting blocks. Like he looked alive. He didn't look like a weak point for us in the game.
Right.
Like he's actually out there and he's doing work. He's playing with heart and hustle, and that's all you can really ask for from a player that still has only played less than 50 games in the NBA.
Yeah.
Or no.
No,
I
think we forget that he's still like
in his rookie season.
I think he's played more than 50 games. But what I will say is that I agree with the points that you guys are making, because again, a lot of the criticism comes from his lack of effort.
And just to confirm, you're agreeing with him starting while Vooch is out.
Nobody.
Well, he said all the points.
No, but I totally understand your point, but I just feel like consistency is one of the things that the overall team struggles with, and until Mo gives those numbers or gives that effort consistently, I'm not on. Like I said, I'm not on the Mo train.
All right, let's jump into our next pass or shoot. So, DJ Augustin hurts our offense more than he helps it.
Shoot.
Passing.
Pass.
Shoot.
He had just been a little dribbling machine this year. I don't know if I watched the games differently last year, or I don't know what it was, but I feel like he's dribbling without a purpose this year. There's a lot of times when the shot clock's at 24, he gets the ball, he's not either passing it or creating something productive until there's about 10 seconds left in the shot clock. And then we have Isaac shooting up a 3, contested 3, because that's the best option out there right now. Or, last game, somebody posted on Twitter, forgot who it was, this little play that he did, he drew to the basket and did this like acrobatic layup when the game was only one at that moment. I don't know, he's doing too much. I feel like he's doing too much. Markel, to me, should be getting some of those minutes. I just feel like Clifford is, unfortunately, not going to change that anytime soon.
What point in the season do you think that switch is gonna be flipped
With Markel?
with Markel?
Closer to January. I think we have another month left of Markel kind of being baby and kind of safety zone. But I think around January or so, that switch is going to flip.
And back to DJ, I think I remember last season him dribbling a whole lot too. So,
but it was for a purpose. Like he would dribble to draw the defense.
The
to
purpose was
something.
that he was our only point guard.
Yeah,
or that.
That's what I was going to say. That,
now we have a better point guard. I'd rather see that other point guard out there.
Right. So he's just trying to figure out maybe where he fits in now.
Maybe.
I think. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it's just that last year we were comparing DJ Augustin with MCW. He was just a better point guard overall.
Or Briscoe.
Now, or Briscoe. Yeah, or Briscoe.
Or our favorite point guard of all time,
Jerry and Grant.
Yes.
So this year we're comparing DJ Augustin with Markel Fultz. There's no comparison. I'm surprised it took 10 games for us to figure that out. You know what I mean? And I think with DJ, he's still an effective shooter. He's still averaging field goal percentage 37% from the field. So he's still a asset for us on the floor. But if we're comparing with what he's able to bring to us with what Markel is bringing to us, there's no comparison.
So I think with DJ, the issue is last year he had success with kind of dribble penetration and kicking out and finding guys open. Terrence Ross was, top of the line 3-point shooter at that time, and it was working. I think teams have had the opportunity to kind of game plan against that. So when DJ penetrates, a lot of things close up in the paint, which doesn't allow him, the room to put in those reverse layups like he used to last year, or to kick out. And then he's kind of dribbling past the hoop, circling back around. And by the time that happens, everyone is set on defense, which kind of stunts our offensive motion, which makes it harder for us to score. And I think with Markel, he's one of those guys who plays in transition consistently and can dribble and pass simultaneously. Like his court vision is different from DJ's, it feels like. So he can make passes before the person is where the pass is going. And it gives us transition buckets at a higher rate than DJ does.
I mean, he's also 5 inches taller, so he's able to see more on top of the players more so than what DJ would. I think for me, what I'm most disappointed in is I was almost 100% confident that by plugging DJ into our second string, that our second string was just going to be like bananas. Like, it was
That's what
crazy.
I thought too. Yeah.
And I haven't seen that, not even a little bit. I thought that he would be able to kind of, take control of that team, put people in the right positions way more often than not. And, we haven't seen it, but it's still really early on in the season.
But I think it's partly because Steve Clifford is still, and this might change come, January or so,
rotations.
when Markel has like full starters minutes. Steve is kind of staggering his minutes to where DJ hasn't had, full rotations with the bench. He's kind of still playing with the starters just later in the game. So I think as Markel's minutes grow in that starter role and DJ's minutes kind of completely fall into the bench minutes, things will change. Those relationships will change. And the flow of that second string unit is gonna be better.
Now let me ask you, just due to the amount of energy and the level of play that he brought to us last season, do you think it can also be just the simple fact that he's pissed that he lost a starting job in less than 10 games?
No.
You don't think so? You don't think that as a player that losing the starting position, because really I'm not sure how it was like early on in his career, but has he ever been like a full-on starting point guard in the NBA?
With Charlotte back in days.
But if you listen to DJ's interviews and how he looks at the game and how he looks at criticism, he doesn't seem like one of those guys who for the sake of his ego, needs to be a starter.
Yeah.
He seems like one of those guys who is willing to help the team win, and however he can make that happen is what he's comfortable doing. So I don't think that he feels, slighted or anything, because he was moved to the bench from the starting unit.
Yeah, I think if anybody would take it the best, I think it would be DJ. And then given this point in his career, that it was kind of expected. Even last year, it was expected that we're looking for a point guard. We're looking for that direction. So,
and realistically, DJ was never supposed to be the starter.
Right.
He kind of just fell into that role because Elfrid Payton didn't work out.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that in his mind, he knew that this was temporary.
Yeah.
Especially when they signed Markel.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Agreed.
All right, so now we're going to get into Get It Off Your Chest. This first one is from Brandon Harris from Facebook group Magic Nation. Brandon says, Magic has to put some trust into our young guys and stop relying on guys who have peaked and not consistent enough to take us to the playoffs. Whew. I feel like he's aiming that one directly at Aaron Gordon.
Yep.
Yeah. I think so too. And maybe even Fournier and Vucevic, which we know.
Justin,
and I am not looking
keep
at
it
Justin.
together, Justin.
I am not looking at Justin. Especially in a time like this. I feel like with Vucevic out again, we got to give the ball to the young guys. Let Isaac, let Fultz, even Gordon. Again, he's still part of the young crew of our players. Bamba, let these guys shoot the ball, get some momentum, get some energy. This is the time to do it. And I feel like we're still giving the ball too much to Fournier, unfortunately. And to some degree, also DJ Augustin. So I think it's time to let these young guys truly develop while we can.
Yeah, I think this is actually the perfect time to let the young guys, kind of take the reins a little bit. Fournier is our best scorer, most consistent scorer, and that's probably still going to be the case. And I actually expect him to be that for this season. I think that's going to be the role that he plays on this team. But I don't think Fournier being a primary scoring option limits the young guys from playing. I think what limits the young guys from playing is Steve Clifford sticking to these rotations that don't necessarily make sense. And I think Steve needs to let Jonathan Isaac play the majority of the fourth quarter. I think late game situation is how players get better. I think being in those moments that require you to be clutch, require you to make big plays defensively, that's how Jonathan Isaac is going to develop. So ultimately, we can have a combination of, like I said last episode, old Magic and new Magic work together. It's about distributing the minutes effectively and making sure that you're not limiting the young guys because you think that the vets deserve more minutes simply because they are vets. If you're not producing, then you should not be playing the majority of a game. I think that's as simple as it gets.
I agree with them for a simple fact that, if he's saying Magic has to put trust in our young guys, and Markel Fultz and Jonathan Isaac are our young guys, and they are our best players, it makes sense to me, right? Yeah. If we're talking about the Mo Bamba, then, I'm not willing to put full trust into him as of yet. But I definitely think I agree with you guys. Rotation is something that could be just a minor tweak that can make such a huge impact and difference for Jonathan Isaac and Markel Fultz. I think both of them should be players that play a minimum of 30, but should be in the 35, 36 range because they're so effective on the court, and they do make players around them better. Both of them make players around them better.
That's right.
So it's just a matter of us or Coach Cliff realizing it, making the change, and doing the adjustments.
Unleashing the beast.
Just running plays for them. I think that's the one issue. We're not running plays for them. Again, back to what I said earlier, having Fultz in the corner does nothing for us. If Fultz is running a pick and roll, that helps us. If he's attacking the basket, that helps us. Put him in the corner, what Isaac also does quite a bit of. What is that doing for them? You're not running plays for them. You're not running a pick and roll for them. You don't have them cut into the basket. It's just, to me, you're wasting that young talent, that development time of those young guys.
Yeah. I love how Justin figured out how to keep Evan Fournier.
He loves it.
As the star in his comment there. That was great. I love how you did that.
There's a way we can all win here. Let Fournier shoot.
Let Fournier shoot. But I agree with you guys. But I would love to see Isaac and Fultz unleashed.
All right, guys. So I kind of talked about this already a little bit, but another point that was brought up on Magic Nation Facebook group, specifically Ernesto David Vasquez, he says, what's the deal with playing DJ and Fultz together? neither of them is a shooting guard. Clifford is afraid to decrease DJ minutes.
I don't think Clifford is afraid to decrease DJ minutes. I honestly, heartedly believe that the front office isn't allowing him to play Markelle Fultz above whatever agreed minutes restriction they have him on. I think he knows that Markelle Fultz is the best player on the court, and I think that if he's able to play him above the 25 minutes per game, that he would do it. It's just his hands are tired and he can't.
Well, he did get bumped up. He's playing 29, 30 minutes now, which is good. But my biggest point on this is that extra 6 minutes he got increased, or 5 minutes increase, it's jointly on the court with DJ. And that is what I'm talking about earlier. He's just sitting in the corner, letting DJ create the whole time. What's the point in that? If you're going to increase it 5 minutes, make it worth it. That's not quite what's happening right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's necessarily Clifford being afraid. I think there has to be a restriction placed on Markelle that's outside of Clifford's control.
For good reason.
Good reason, because I do think, although Markelle has been playing extremely well for his situation, I think there's minutes, especially during the Toronto game, where you saw him a little sluggish. And I don't know if that has to do with the increase in minutes, because he has increased about, three or so minutes, I think.
3 to 5.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's that or if he just didn't sleep all that night. But there was like a visible change in Markelle. He was struggling, and there were moments where he would have like energy boost, but then he would go back to being a little sluggish. So I think they know something that we don't, obviously, and that's why those rotations between them two are the way they are.
And there's still a lot of basketball left to be played. So
I'm trying to think back, but when MCW, before he got injured, did we see a lot of DJ and Fultz playing together?
No, not a lot.
Yeah, it was more Markelle and MCW and vice versa with DJ and MCW.
Right, MCW was like the second piece to each player.
So that would explain the reason why we see more of it. I mean, it may not be an effective rotation that he wants to do. It's just he's kind of using just the players that he has.
Well, yeah, because any time that you play DJ, he has to be on ball because he's too small otherwise. And while he can shoot the three and do all of those things, in my opinion, there's only like one player who was successful kind of playing sometimes off ball at that height, and that was Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
And we know, and this is not a knock against DJ, it's just the truth, he's not Isaiah Thomas.
No, for sure.
So the next one comes from Jorel's 06 on IG. He says, AG's sixth season, and he hasn't shown much development. He can go for the right price. Isaac and Fultz, only people I care about, and Fournier is somewhat stepping up this year, so I'll give him credit. Bamba also makes me want to kill myself sometimes.
Sheesh.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Jorel. Don't do it. It's too early.
It'll get better. I'm going to say...
What is AG at the right price? Like, what is the right price for a 24-year-old athletic,
power forward
that can play both sides of the field, can shoot the three when he wants to? Like, what is the right price for that?
I wouldn't say when he wants to, kind of whenever the universe aligns and allows him to. No, I'm just kidding. But I think Aaron Gordon is a good player, right? But I think Aaron Gordon is in the wrong system.
He is.
I think there are other systems off the top of my head. I can think of Golden State and Portland where he can thrive, where they can play him at his natural position and kind of allow him to dominate in that way. They have speedy point guards that are, pass the ball and get others involved. And I think that's how AG has to play. And he has to be in a system where he's not the primary option. He has to be in a system where he can kind of fall back, kind of trail and hit threes. Not the way he's playing in Orlando, where he's over dribbling, where he's kind of the focal point of the offense a lot of times. So I think for the right team, we can get a good amount back for AG, but it has to be the perfect situation.
Hi, Golden State. How's it going?
I think Golden State would be a perfect fit. I think we talk about D'Lo all the time. We talk about Portland, perhaps with McCollum being a possibility there as well. Golden State is also his home, man. That he's from San Jose, California. He's around the corner there from San Francisco. it would make sense. Now, for me personally, I don't like D'Lo to be a max player in Orlando, being the guy that is going to lead us to the promised land. I don't think that's what D'Lo can do. But offensively,
what do you mean you don't think that is something that he can't?
Offensively,
he did it in Brooklyn.
He's a great player offensively, true. Do you want him leading this team and kind of being like that guy that you're paying him max money, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yes.
I respect your opinion because I do see the need. I do see what
3 times.
Yeah, I do see. I agree with you. I do see how that guy here could be a baller, average 20 plus points a game. I see it. Just the leadership aspect of it, though, like, I don't know. Because then who's our leader in this team?
We can't shoot. We can't score. We can't put the ball in the hoop.
That's fine. I'm talking about leadership, though. Like, to pay max money.
I think Jonathan Isaac will become a leader.
I think so.
I think he has the personal attributes. I think he's like well spoken enough, has that attitude, that command of I don't want to say attention because he's not like attention hungry.
Respect.
But yeah, he commands respect, and I think that he will be a leader for us in a year or so. So I think if you could bring D'Lo over, that would obviously improve
and don't
our
get me wrong,
shooting.
if that's a realistic trade option,
Right.
D'Lo and for Gordon and a pick, I would do that with my eyes closed. I just think of the financial aspect of it a little bit, thinking about 2021, adding that big contract. That's the only thing. But if that trade was proposed to us December 15th, when trades can be done with this guys that switch teams in the summer, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I agree.
We would have to include Evan, though.
Maybe, but we would have to receive more than D'Lo for that to happen.
I'm okay with just getting D'Lo.
Well, I don't know. I think
you're just okay
ultimately-
with just letting go of Evan.
Yeah.
No,
not-
man, I
that's
like
not the
Evan.
same thing.
I like Evan. I just think that if we get rid of AG and Evan, that's the only option to get with Golden State.
I don't think so. I think you could offer them Gordon, some salary, filling piece, and a pick.
But then how would D'Lo fit with the team?
Honestly, I think the best trade, and this is like not looking at numbers, just thinking about how much time is on each person's contract. I think the trade would be Aaron Gordon, DJ Augustin for D'Lo, possibly a pick. Maybe they'll require a pick from us just because DJ is expiring. But that way it allows Golden State to free up cap space.
D'Lo's still on the contract.
Right. D'Lo's still on the contract. They get AG, who has a year or two left on his contract.
Yeah.
And they get possibly a pick that'll help them further develop their roster for the future.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect situation.
And you did say, Justin, a couple of weeks back in our podcast that there's been rumors already of Golden State talking to a bottom of the East or middle tier team in the East. So that could be us. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors in these meetings and these talks, but that's a possibility.
No one really expected D'Lo to stay in Golden State when he went there. And during free agency, I wrote an article on the Zone BB talking about why all of the reasons why D'Lo should play for Orlando, and this was before, Golden State signed him. This was when he was still in Brooklyn. So
Just imagining a lineup of Markelle Fultz, D'Lo, Nikola Vucevic. It's Isaac together on the floor at the same time. Now you're having a really good mixed combination of defense and offense. And if D'Lo is, because his range is ridiculous. He can score off the dribble. He can shoot behind the arc. He can penetrate. Like, he's a player that I think that the Magic desperately need. Evan Fournier is kind of doing that for us right now. But I just think that a player like D'Lo can do that at a high volume.
I'd be interested, now that you mentioned that, I'd actually be interested in Markelle Fultz at the 1, D'Lo at the 2.
Yes.
Trying Fournier out at the 3.
Oh, for sure.
J.I. at the 4.
That's what it
Vooch
would
at
be.
the 5. That would be beautiful.
That's a lot of shooting.
That's a lot of shooting, a lot of scoring.
And I think the dynamics of Markelle and D'Lo together, they can play off each other.
They can.
You don't, at that point, it's positionless. It's whoever has the ball to bring it
Split
down.
point guard roles.
Exactly. They can split it left and right.
I'm going to go home after this, guys, and make a trade in my 2K, my league. And
see if
get
it works.
to
Yeah.
Orlando.
As soon as we get off the podcast, I think I'm going to put it through the trade machine and see if it works.
Yeah, that would be.
It should. It should. The money should work.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, we'll make it work.
All right, so I appreciate everyone sending us the entries for the Get It Off Your Chest segment. This week ahead, we have 4 games this coming week. So we have Sunday versus Golden State. Tuesday, we're going to face off against Washington. Wednesday, against Phoenix. Friday versus Cleveland. What's the game of the week?
I would say the Suns.
I think the Suns a crucial game. It's at home.
Yeah.
Second game for back-to-back against a team that has been playing well.
Yeah, I would agree. The last couple of years, actually, the Suns have been the worst team or close to the worst team in the Western Conference. Same thing for Orlando with the exception of last season, which was an outlier. But the Suns are really good this year. They're impressing a lot of people. They're winning games that many people think that they shouldn't win going into. So I think it'll be a good gauge to see who we really are, what we can really do. If last season was a flash in the pan and we're going to revert back to what we were, or if we are a better team and we're carrying that forward. So I do think the Suns are the game of the week for us.
So do you have us winning?
I do have us winning. I think Markel is going to have a big game against the Suns. And the reason why I say that is because I think Phoenix is going to be a team that pushes the pace on us. We still aren't going to have Vooch back. And it's going to be an opportunity for our guys to really get out there and run. So it's going to be exciting. And I think the fast-paced game benefits Markel's style of basketball. So I do have us winning against the Suns. But it will be a close game.
I think this upcoming week is so crucial for us.
Yep.
I can honestly see us going 4-0 this week against Golden State, Washington, Phoenix, and Cleveland, because the following week is going to be the tough week. Next week we have the Bucks, the Lakers, and the Rockets.
Yeah.
And that's without Nikola Vucevic, right? So it's a week that's really important just for our record standpoint and just being able to go on the stretch and win a few games. Needed. If we can steal away one of the games next week, that's only a bonus and a plus for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be at that Rockets game, so I'm excited.
So I got us winning against the Suns as well that night. I'm 0-2 so far, guys. By the way, on this.
All right, so go just say that they're gonna lose. That way we do the opposite.
Man,
Well, I'm going for the
It's not working. It's not working. But I am gonna go with the win. I think we are gonna go close to, if not 4-0, maybe 3-1 this week. So I got us winning against Phoenix. And hopefully I can bring some luck, man. Because 0-2, I can't catch a break.
So I'll go for the loss. I don't. I think we're gonna lose, and I don't think we'll be able to keep up
With what? Like their pace?
their pace. I don't think we'll keep up,
Okay.
and I see us losing.
Okay,
Just put Jonathan Isaac on Devin Booker. Call it a day.
that's it.
That's it. All right, guys. So that's a wrap for us. Really good episode this week. A lot of things to look forward to next week, and we're gonna call it a wrap. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the OZone Podcast, the voice of Magic fans.
Be sure to visit our website, theozonepod.com, and remember to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on all your favorite podcast listening platforms.